Good morning, everybody. Good morning and Merry Christmas.
Merry
Hello.
Christmas, everyone. Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Thanksgiving. Any
Yes.
holidays in between?
Birthday. My
Li-
birthday. Happy birthday to me.
When's your birthday? Didn't
November
it pass?
3rd. Yeah. Just had it. Yep.
We've already said happy birthday to you. You want another one?
Yes, please.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
How many we gotta do?
Does that mean that counts as another year? Fuck. God dang it.
And now we don't have to say it next year.
Don't feel like watching movies, so I'll watch people guess them instead. I don't know how it goes, I think it starts with your show.
Instead of that automatically made me more happy birthday. And that's not good.
Um,
Not at this age.
you squeezed it in before the end of the world. I mean, with
One
these
more
drones.
Yeah, what's going on? What is it?
And why
Well,
do people, but like, don't you see drones all the time?
I have found out that I have officially put a filter into my brain in my interest spot where if I see a news article about drones, I'm like, I don't care. And I
Isn't that
don't,
interesting?
And I don't.
That's like
I
at
wonder-
a family. It's like at a family dinner, and someone goes like, "I just don't care about drones," and then the kid who's like, he's at that age where everything's a conspiracy. He's like, "Oh, really?
Yeah,
Maybe that's by design, and that's all I really need to hear from you about it."
is interesting that it's such a boring word that no one thinks about.
Is because drone by definition is the
That is
word
true.
itself
The most-
is boring.
Yeah.
The most boring word for the thing that is probably going to be the future of war and will topple country.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Killing machines.
Tell me about it, Elliott. What's going on?
I mean, no one knows, according to the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security and the FAA.
Well, and they tell us everything.
And they tell us everything, and they
clear
never
up
lie.
everything.
The reality is that the vast majority are probably drones. We have no idea where they're coming from, who's operating them, and they go dark when they are attempted to be followed. They've been found over military air bases. They've shut down airports. They've stopped medical evacuations from happening. And so it's happening most likely, and this is just Occam's razor for folks who aren't so privy on philosophical meanderings, but the reality is that it's most likely our Defense Department doing a Black Ops training, essentially chasing actual UFOs, and there's a distraction in place. So we are saying drones and thinking about drones when what's really going on is they're covering up for the things that are actually happening, which is the bursting forth of interdimensional life for the coming of the age of Aquarius.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Okay.
Does that explain it?
So I think I'm on board with the U.S. is testing these out because
And Joe Biden was like, I'm not going to shoot them down because we don't know what they are yet.
The shooting them down thing is wild to me, dude, because I keep hearing on the internet, and no offense, it's on mostly one side of the aisle, so to speak, of a lot of people just being like, shoot them down. But I'm like, isn't there like a thing where if things get shot down, they can come down and they can land on I don't know, people. And everyone on TV and on the internet just shoot them down. And it's like, don't do that.
Why are people so stupid, man? We have
You know
too many
how-
stupids.
We also have what's the best realm of perspective I can give you right now? How about this? When you are driving down the road and you stop at a stoplight and you look up at the stoplight and you're like, man, that's a stoplight. That looks a certain size. But then if you ever see a stoplight on the ground and you can stand next to it, it's the biggest fucking thing on the
huge.
planet. Think about that in drone terms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Well,
saying
those
these
are
things are
huge.
like the sizes of buses.
They're massive.
And people don't tend to and they stay in the air for much longer than most drones, I guess, can stay in the air for 10 minutes to an hour. These are staying for 6 or 7, 8 hours at a time, which is pretty extensive drones.
Nuclear powered drones.
But dude, to your point about the friggin' traffic light, I remember that as a kid. The first time I saw a traffic light, I was like, ain't no way that thing is that big.
Yeah.
I thought they were this big. And
You
I
could
still
stick
did.
your head into the circle.
Yeah.
And it's the
I
same
used to
with,
think that traffic
street
lights.
signs. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I thought traffic lights had a man inside them that had a little button that pressed it for every.
Little
And
Quasimodo inside.
And you
Ringing the bell.
dreamed of having that job.
Did yeah.
The isolation, the privacy. It's the kind of job you can only dream of getting.
You only dream.
Government benefits.
Well, I will say, like, you know, the shoot it down thing is like, I understand that. I understand the shoot it down thing because it's like, think about when we were like early humans and like they saw like the first time they saw a condor. You know, you guys know about condors?
Condors were on the verge of extinction.
Yes, correct.
But when 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 Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, pirates don't eat the tourists. You know what I'm talking about?
Condors on the lot. Yeah, that's good. That's very good job, boys. You both get a star because
Thank you.
that's true about both are true about condors. But can you imagine like people seeing a condor for the first time and being like, "We gotta kill it. We gotta bring that fucking thing down."
Yeah, it's instinctual for sure.
It's instinctual to be like, I don't know what that is. It's up in the sky. We need to kill it. Like, you know, like, I don't know why. Why do we? I feel like from the tiniest lizard part, because, you know, critical thinking would help to understand.
A lot of people.
To help a lot of people, it would help in the situation of let's shoot down a drone. If those people could just critically think about what kind of impact that would have when it hits the ground, how many people would die, does it have explosives that are set to go off if it is taken down? Like all of these things.
That's a good question too.
Right? Like what if it has a self-destruct? What if it doesn't want to be captured and then it has a safeguard for that? But on the other hand, it's like, well, we've had so many things in the news that are unidentified and unidentifiable, and the president and people in charge have admitted that these are unidentifiable objects, and then they just go away, and then we just never hear from them or see them ever again. So on the one hand, I'm like, well, we're never going to see these fucking things again, and then everyone's going to forget about it, and then until another drone test happens. And so I'm like, yeah, maybe we should just fucking shoot it down. Who cares what happens when it lands? Let's find out what the fuck it is finally.
I get it. I'm with you on an emotional level. Have you seen that thing about the first human who ever heard a parrot talk was probably like, oh, this isn't good.
They went to town hall and they were like, we need to eliminate these talking.
We got a problem.
There are animals that speak and we need to kill them.
First they're talking and then they're taking our women.
Is that what's happening in Wicked?
Wait, what?
Did you guys see Wicked?
Yeah, I missed the parrot
Joe,
scene.
you didn't see Wicked?
Not yet, no.
There's like this whole subplot about talking animals.
Well, yeah, there is, and it's it is very musically of like,
yeah.
Is it like setting up the world of the Cowardly Lion?
it's like a kinda, yeah, and it like a metaphor for, you know, a very on the nose
It's
metaphor.
so on the nose. It's like silence the people that will change. Silence the things that are threatening our society.
Or homogenous, yeah.
And yeah, I think but that's totally it. It's like they're intelligent animals and we have to stop that. Do you think there was a whole movement of people that were like, we can't have animals talking? What's next?
Do you mean or in real life?
In real life, when they first saw the parrot, when they saw the parrot talk, do you think they were like, they had serious discussions in government and were like...
I don't know, man. I'm actually might be leaning that it goes the other way because it's actually called scientifically the Doolittle syndrome, where we all like stupidly excited that we can talk to animals.
The Doolittle paradox.
We all really want to talk to animals. So I'm thinking they're like, this is the best thing that could ever happen. Let's actually integrate the parrot into society. Let's make him maybe the Secretary of Transportation to see what happens.
Well,
I miss
back in the day, it was when there was a lot of like we were just getting shipping routes in order across the ocean, and so they needed to be assistant pirates, essentially, assistant boat captains and the boat captains that operated outside legal parameters.
Mhm.
They had to the parrots were essentially
Yeah. First mate.
that's how a lot of canes, we invented canes, but first they were just attached to the leg like a pirate. We even had the eye patch. They were fine. They could see out of both eyes, but the eye patch became so cool that they started gouging out their eye.
Purposely, yeah. It was called a gouging.
Gouging, yeah.
You
the
bring
great
friends and family.
gouging.
Yep.
One-
You bring friends and family. It's actually a 1 week affair. Not quite like
Cheated on his wife?
1 wife affair.
So for some reason my brain, when you guys were talking about the whole parrot thing, has me thinking about do you guys miss, or do you think about how there was a time in our history when something unexplainable like that would happen, and then there would be like people in power that would assign like a team to go investigate it and like report back on whether it's something to be worried about? Do you
Sounds like
guys-
a pretty cool movie.
The
It
bomb
does-
squad?
Well, no, okay, so for example, I was doing research, back in my Benjamin Franklin time traveler days, I was like doing research into like Benjamin Franklin stuff. And I was like, what's some other fun stuff about Benjamin Franklin I never knew?
He had 14 forms of syphilis. Invented 3 of them.
Didn't he get around? He got
And the
around,
syphilis we have today is thanks to Benjamin Franklin.
Mhm.
He did get around. He liked to have sex, I think. He liked to ejaculate. And it was one of the things he loved to do. And that's fine. I don't have any, that's fine. It's his business. He invented like the washing machine or something. Like for real, he did.
No, he did a lot of things like the
He invented-
stove.
He invented glasses. He invented bifocals.
It's insane what that man actually.
I know. And so this piece of information is going to blow your guys' minds, I think. Because I discovered this information and I was like, fuck, I need to like make this movie, I think, because this is insane. So in 1784, King Louis the 16th I think this was France, right? No, Louis is not a French name.
I think when you get to Louis the 15th, you can change the name. It's enough Louis, am I right?
Yeah, his name was Anton, and then he changed it to. But anyway, this king had heard that there was someone in some part of the world that was hypnotizing people, and he was and it was like real. It was real, and people were like, "What is this thing?" And it was before like hypnotism and all that thing became like a huge thing that we know today. Hypnotism wasn't really a thing yet. And there was this guy named Anton Mesmer. You guys know who that is?
I've heard the Anton Mesmer.
So Anton Mesmer is like basically the father of mesmerism and hypnotism, and he claimed that he was using like magic and his own like special abilities to hypnotize people to do what he wanted and to, get rid of fears and phobias and things like that. And so this King Louis the 16th assembled a team with Benjamin Franklin leading it to go investigate Anton Mesmer.
It's like the League of Extraordinary
I
Gentlemen.
know. Isn't
Like,
it awesome?
like, it's that montage moment where you're getting everybody. And, oh,
Yeah.
There's also one. I don't know if this is the same thing, but also who went to see him was like Darwin's nephew or something. Like
Like a part of the team, or is
or
a separate
Darwin's
thing?
bulldog is what it was named. If I'm blanking on his name, but yeah, he was also. I don't know if he was that team, but he at one point was sent to check the legitimacy of mesmerism.
Isn't that amazing? Like there was a time when some king was like, "Go check on this, like
Yeah.
magician. Like I need to know if it's real." You know,
Darwin's bulldog is so funny to me. It's like Darwin is coming up to you and is bequeathing you with a nickname, and he just kind of like hand on the head, other one kind of like feeling your aura, and he's like, if you were to evolve right now, you would be the bulldog.
He did it for animal reasons. That's funny. Yeah.
they're like, "What's a bulldog?"
You are the eagle.
Ooh, I know what an eagle is. That's great.
No, Thomas Huxley is what his name was.
That's cool. That would be fun. So I was like kind of assembling this movie idea that is done in the style of What We Do in the Shadows, the movie. And there's like,
Yeah.
and there would be like in his team, there would be like the inventor of the camera and the inventor of all this stuff and all these people that Benjamin Franklin like brought together. And so what you're seeing is like, sorry, this is the first time I'm speaking today. And what you would see is like it's the first like documentary ever, and
That's fun.
right.
You got
And
the
he's
first
using
camera.
like it's like the first camera, and it's all like done like a mockumentary style, like What We Do in the Shadows. And there's like a guy in the team that's like afraid of the camera and is like, he thinks it's gonna like steal his soul or something. Like, get it away from me. And so I was like, this would be a really fun movie because the whole team could be like whatever, and then you make it really funny, and then you finally get to Anton Mesmer. Elliott's gone, he's out. And then
I'm reading up on it.
Oh, okay, good. I want to know your thoughts on this. And then they finally get to Anton Mesmer, and basically what happened in real life is this Anton Mesmer guy was literally like a crackpot, like con artist.
You don't say.
It's not true.
And he was using this mesmerism to touch women and to like abuse and to like, get away with doing sexual things to women.
He wasn't touching them. He would go behind a curtain.
He would go behind a curtain and do
And he'd also have to be in water, I believe, like a bath.
But it was like his whole setup was like ridiculous, and so I wanted to really like fuck around with that and have fun and have like whoever plays Anton Mesmer is like some ridiculous comedian or
You
something.
guys should see his act. It is amazing. It will blow your mind. He goes behind the curtain and then he comes out from behind the curtain and his penis is out.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens.
I was mesmerized. So
The odds. I was mesmerized. And his name is Mesmer. The odds of that are crazy.
I mean, what are the odds?
Nuts. Do you guys think whenever I hear of like anybody back in that far, the 1700s or anybody pre like in post-industrial age ability to travel the world, I'm like, oh, Ben Franklin went to France and then did another thing. Well, that was his whole life. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
anytime I hear anybody traveled more than 100 miles back in the day, I'm like, well, there went 17 years.
Yeah.
Or like, I'll be like, how did he know where that was? Like, there's no way they knew where
And
anything
did they ever
was.
fuck up and go somewhere else by accident? And
Yeah.
be like, oh shit. But how long would they
Those
think they
old
were at the
maps?
place? Yeah. And then how long would they stay in that place thinking they were in the right place?
Like, imagine traveling from France to, let's go all the way to, Italy, somewhere in Italy. And they're like, you need to go from A to B. And they give you this map, this hand-drawn map. At what point on the trip, how many forks in the road are you like, which way am I going?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
first
map
one.
isn't, yeah. And the map isn't like super accurate either.
No.
So you're like, damn, dude, that must have made trips way longer than they should have been.
Like, imagine how many wrong turns.
It is worth noting that Mesmer was a precursor to like all modern psychotherapy, so like any talk therapy, because it revealed the power of suggestion to people and the ability of through suggestion for their bodies and minds to change.
So yeah, so he did help out, but at what cost?
But don't include that in the movie, yeah. And also he had a chemist with him. So, but chemistry back then, I mean, you could have a lot of fun with that. Like that guy could be constantly exploding things accidentally and like, you know, killing people accidentally because he
a lot of magic.
Yeah, he's like, you know, mixing ammonia together and.
Oh yeah,
you need to write it. I was, you know.
I think because in the team there were 8 scientists in Benjamin Franklin's team that went to go study Mesmer, and one of them was the father of modern chemistry, Elliott, like you said, and the other one was Dr. Joseph Guillotine. Guess what he invented?
No, not the inventor of the guillotine.
Coffee. He was a medical reformer who became famous for pushing France to devise a more humane, mechanized way of carrying out the death penalty.
I mean, he did it.
So, what a fun team of people to fuck around with in a fun movie or whatever. But in
real
life,
later changed his name to Joseph Ignatia Electric Chair, which is.
And that was way more humane.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it was animal magnetism.
In your movie, the whole time, Guillotine's like, got this thing that he wants to try, but nobody believes in it, and they don't think it's going to do anything, so the whole movie's like, come on, guys, let me try my thing, and they don't let him try it. But then, of course, at the end of the movie, during the climax, Guillotine gets to show why he's part of the team to spectacular results.
He's got to wheel it out. And then there's like a talking parrot, and they're like, take that thing out now. And
no, I'm studying it. But anyway, so in real life, they discovered that all this stuff was just, you're right, it was suggestion. It was like the power of suggestion. And I think, but Ben Franklin went back to that king and was like, we didn't find anything conclusive except that we might want to look into this like power of suggestion thing. And that's like kind of how it ends. But in my movie version, I was like, they have to discover that he's really using like magic and it's like really works. But Ben Franklin and his team decide that no king should have that ability. Yeah, and so they just smear his name and say he's crazy. And then from then on, he loses his credibility and they do it for the good of humanity.
I love that.
Mesmer. Imagine how many back in the day, again, like we're talking about the power of suggestion. It's also the power of the word of mouth, right? So this king's just sitting there and somebody comes up and he's like, hey, guess what I heard? This dude called Mesmer. And he's like, form a team! Get that guy from America! Form a team! Yeah. Somebody else comes up and he's like, hey, this dude I heard about, shit's gold. Form a team! So many teams.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that like because imagine you're like, you tell the king you heard a thing, and the king's like, okay, form a team. But then you come back and you're like, never mind. That king would have your head cut off.
Well, once politely was on the team. Yeah.
Politely. I'm sorry. So your findings were inconclusive, huh? And so you wasted all this gold? I'm going to need to politely kill you now.
It cuts to Guillotine, and he's just like, I don't have any clue how you're going to do that.
It's my time.
I would love to politely kill someone. I mean, that's his dream. They're all sitting around the fire, and they're like, Guillotine, what are your dreams?
It's also the guillotine thing, for the fact that he was trying to find a more humane way of execution. It means he was probably like the woke liberal of that era. That was just like,
see how it writes itself?
Yeah,
it
really
totally
annoying.
writes itself.
Well, and we're also seeing like his final successful attempt. What if we went through all of his failed inventions?
Right. I know.
Like, what do those look like?
Okay, so I guess I got to drop the blade from a little higher.
Okay, so pulling the blade up doesn't
it's not
work.
Quite cutting through.
Bring me another doomed individual.
You just got all of these really shitty saw machines that are supposed to kill somebody, but none of them maim effectively.
I want one where he like tests it out and it like cuts the head off, like, but it takes a few.
Right,
And then
yeah.
he goes down with his like pad to like the head and he's like, how did that feel? And the head's
Scale
like,
of 1
well,
to 10.
actually, it hurt a lot. You know, the head, it's just a head there.
On a scale from 1 to 10, are you still alive?
Yeah, I'm
Like, you-
alive.
Okay, so you'd say like a 10. You 10?
On a 10, I'm alive on a 10, yeah, but I'm swallowing and it doesn't feel like my tummy's filling.
Do you regret being a witch now?
I'm not, well, I guess so. I guess I am a witch now that my head works. Without it being on the body.
This whole montage in the movie of him testing all his failed inventions is to the song "What I Want You Got Right Behind
In the handle. I got in the handle. You make my dreams come true.
But that ooh part is like 7 severed heads saying ooh, ooh, ooh.
On a shelf going like,
If he's like the first one who gets invited to the team, it would be very funny because his mind is so focused on this guillotine thing.
Right.
And then they're like, well, we naturally thought of you to come see if this magic mesmer man is
Yeah.
like
yeah, because you know about death and stuff.
you're
I
so
guess.
forward thinking.
Yeah,
Right.
all the leaders in thought of the era came together.
Right, you could have Ben going to that guy's like laboratory or whatever, or his like office, and that's where he's like testing out the guillotine or whatever. And Ben's like, "This is disgusting," and this is like a big man, and there could
Blood
be like,
everywhere.
yeah, it just sprays blood, and he's like, you know, if there was ever an audience watching this, they'd be covered in blood every time. You
There's
know?
also like this massive imposter syndrome because he's hanging out with Ben Franklin.
I
Like,
know,
this guy
right?
just wants to make one invention, and Ben's like, "Look, I got some suggestions," and he's like, "I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, Ben." Like, I
Yeah,
can
why don't you go fly a kite?
Let me have this.
go fly a kite.
And
I'll be right back.
Here's a key.
see what happens.
I was like, wait, that's a good idea.
The chemist too would have been around the time of like alchemy, so you could get them all in their like offices, and the one with the guillotine's covered in blood, and then the alchemist is like trying to make gold or like
Yeah.
you know putting like chicken feet into a cauldron, and it's all like blowing air into the
Yeah, and maybe what if like the guillotine guy's like, I just need to know if it's painless, but the person is dead after it happens, and the alchemist is like, I think I can help you with that. I can bring this guy back to life with alchemy. And they're
What I want, you got the fruit.
very good. And I wanted to do it like not like Benjamin Franklin time traveler comedy. I like where I don't look like Ben Franklin or whatever. I wanted to hire people that actually look like those people. You know?
Like,
no, I think it's a legit low budget comedy movie for sure.
Yeah, right? Like, and it's one of those things where it's like, wait a minute, this is real? This is based on reality? And then it's like they went to go see the guy that was mesmerizing people, that was using animal magnetism and shit. Like, that's really interesting.
It's also like a road trip movie, like you're saying, Joe, and like constantly every fork in the road, them getting just like so confused is really funny. Like they can't get any momentum going because they're just like, none of us ever know where to go.
Let's flip a coin again.
Yeah.
I just think that, you know, if I could get this script written out, I think we got one more meeting at Universal or something that we could squeeze out of Bring the Funny. And then we could go in there and we could get like, you know, see if there's any interest.
You know what this is? This is the comeback of drunk history. Steve, you need to get wasted. They need to interview you talking about this. And then
The first time I've ever been wasted, I wrote a script.
Yeah.
That would be real bad, probably.
Maybe not.
But isn't that interesting, like, to think about, like, how there was a time where a king or someone in power could just be like, yeah, go find out if this is real. There's, like, you know, magic. Go tell me if it's real. And why do they want to know if it's real? Because they want to use it for political gain?
Yeah, I mean, this still happens. We're still making teams. They're still getting people together to go find shit out.
Yeah.
But it's, like, less cool. It's like, let's see how much microplastics are in the sea life.
What I want you.
Let's see what microplastics does to deep sea animals.
The whole scientific revolution, the stories like the in between, because I think it's like imagine that a light went off and everybody was just doing science, but the journey from like magic and alchemy to proper science is pretty funny and fun. And like even like the Hippocratic Oath, Hippocrates believed that bloodletting was like how you heal everything. So like he led to the deaths of a infinite, like incalculable amount of people who just he would put leeches on their bodies and then just wait, and that is so bad.
Yep.
Or like the guy that like was like, maybe we should wash our hands before we stick our hands inside these bodies. You know, these people keep getting infections, and they're like, wash your hands. What is this liberal shit?
Yeah, like germs weren't even imagined.
Right.
I just care. Hold on. I gotta treat the wound.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like maybe you shouldn't do that. Why? Are you a cuck?
Scalpel. Bit in the wound. Bit in the wound again.
What I want you got.
You make my dreams come true. And then the body on the table goes, ooh. And it goes back out.
Oh, man. Zucker Brothers. That's what we need. I don't want Zuckerberg.
Whoa. Imagine that. One of the key figures in the old Zucker movies that died recently. I think it was Jim Abrams.
Really?
Who was like a way up there reason why Airplane and Naked Gun and Top Secret are all really good movies.
Yeah, nobody making movies like that. I could go for one.
I think they're the Wayans brothers are working on a new scary movie, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was out after 2.
It's supposed to be I know. 2's the one with Chris Elliott, right?
Yeah. Hold my hand.
That's pretty good, man. I remember being pretty annoyed by it when it came out because everyone was obsessed with that shit. And I thought those movies were like, I was like way snobbier about movies back then. And I was like, if you can imagine. And I was just like, this isn't fucking Naked Gun. This is like lowest common denominator, stupid, fucking like dumb
Those parody
people.
movies got way worse than scary movies, so you were in a bad place.
I know, and I was like, it just got worse and worse. But I remember being annoyed by, like, I love Chris Elliott, but I was like, really, guys, the little hand is funny, and now I'm like, that shit's fucking hilarious. It's so funny when he's like, take my hand when he's falling off the fucking building. And he's like, no, I don't. The idea that he doesn't want to touch his weird little hand. It's so funny. I know. We need more. So if the Wayans brothers are making a new scary movie, and it's supposed to be a return to form of all those like parody movies we were talking about.
I was watching this interview with Stavros, whose last name I always forget. Are you familiar with him?
That's a name that is familiar, but
we're getting into these guys that they honestly, Grace will make fun of it because they are like me and you guys, but like East Coast and more what's the word, successful.
Oh, Stavros Halkias.
Yeah, like you're Stavros, I'm more like the Adam Friedland, and then Joe is Nick Mullen, and they are archetypally parallel with us. But Stavros just did a movie where they gave him money to make he was like, I want to make this, it's called like Let's Start a Cult, and he sold it so horribly that I didn't have an interest in watching it because he was like, it's just a stupid movie. There's like he's like, I wanted to make a movie that had the most basic plot through line like they used to have, where it was just an excuse to make stupid jokes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he got to do that. He was like, I got to do that, and I had to take the opportunity. So there might be a trend of being able to make incredibly stupid movies.
Like little movies again that don't cost millions of dollars and don't have to be about the end of the world or some like big like fucking save the world kind of thing. Like I was just showing my girlfriend and a friend of mine, they had never seen Throw Mama from the Train.
Wow.
Whoa,
and you guys, and I was like, that's a movie that's being lost to time because it's not like there's no big, awesome, interesting thing about it that you could like pitch to some attention attentionless millennial could sit and like be
Right.
interested in. And it's just this little story about like, you know, a crime. It's Strangers on a Train. It's Hitchcock. It's Strangers on a Train, but it's a fucking comedy, and it's just this little slice of life. It's not big, and it's all an excuse to just make stupid little jokes.
Yeah.
I like a good slice of life movie. It is a genre lost to the superhero big budget nature of the last 20 years. But did you guys watch The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti that came out recently?
No,
Dude, I'm gonna
wait,
be
is
honest
that a
with you.
Christmas movie?
Yeah.
I just heard about this. I'd never heard about it. You loved it?
I heard so many good things that we bought it.
You
And
bought it.
yeah, we were like, I don't forget when it was last year, and we started watching it, and I was like,
You're bored?
I just got bored, yeah.
It didn't
Yeah,
grab
but-
you because it was
No,
too much of a
But
slice
it
of
is
life.
sweet. The intro, like it is like an old school movie like that. I appreciated it, but I was like, this is
It
not.
felt very 90s, like again, small story. But if you actually got through to the end of it, you'd probably appreciate it more.
Yeah.
It's just a good contained story about just a couple of people, and you go on this journey with them. It's great. I like it.
Isn't that interesting? Contained stories is another thing that is like lost to time in a way. Like
Right
you know,
now,
right?
yeah.
Like everything's like, how do we franchise this? How do we make this into like a bunch of other things?
17 seasons. Yeah.
And
Even
listen,
watching Heretic last night, we were like, oh, this is how you make a low budget movie. You need like one house location.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And you just make sure the actors can do it, and you like work really a long time with the casting, and you nail the casting, and then you're like, as long as we cast this correctly, this will work.
Yeah, you're right, Elliot. That movie is legitimately 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 4 to 5 sets, and that's it.
Yep.
4 to 5 sets, and it's contained in that world.
And like
Well,
even in the set, there's like a couple rooms that they're in most of the time. Like they
Yeah,
spend in that
I'm
weird basement.
I'm counting a set as a room. Like that.
Yeah.
That whole thing was like we could shoot this in one location.
Also, don't do that. Don't go into a man's house. Ever.
Don't go into a man's house.
is it a period movie? Does it take place in the 90s or something, or is it like it's modern?
It's present.
Modern.
Yeah, I don't believe modern movies where people go into houses, but they're Mormon, right? They're like doing like
They set up a naivete for sure.
and that works. I think that works because it's like, you know, that if it is Mormons, then that's their whole thing. They gotta go. They want to go into your house and they want to like, you know,
Rummage around.
they want to rummage around,
Steal all your stuff.
yeah. Steal your white shirts.
The
Hide in
Mormon
the walls.
slander on the Valleycast hit a new level this week.
New levels of discontent. You know, speaking of things that can just be self-contained movies or whatever, this like, you know, this Benjamin Franklin Mesmer thing certainly can be its own thing, but you know, but I'm thinking franchise. I'm thinking Ben Franklin finds out that it's real, lies to the king, then goes to the team and goes, let's do our secret evaluations of more magical shit, but we'll do it secretly so the king doesn't know about it. And then you do endless sequels of those guys researching all the way to dinosaurs.
Well, I don't know. I mean, so what I like about the Mesmer one is it's rooted in actual history.
I know, that's the
But there's
best part.
other stories like that where it could be like an anthology series where it's the same actors
Oh, that's
essentially doing the same
cool.
character.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. That's
You know?
brilliant. I mean, let's add that to the pitch.
We'll add it to the pitch.
Who's your Jonah Hill? Or well, gosh, who's not Jonah Hill? Who's your Ben Franklin? I was going to say Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill would
Jonah
play
Hill?
great Ben Franklin.
Your Ben
dude.
Franklin? Is there a better? There's probably a better.
No,
person.
that's really good. But let me think. What about this Stavros guy?
Stavros, yeah, it would be probably
Stavros
the
guy.
best. I mean, look
Okay.
him up, Joe.
all right. Okay.
Yeah, look him up. He would actually
And
be.
tell me that's not
kinda-
exactly Ben
He
Franklin.
kind of looks like Ben Franklin already.
Bobby
Look up all
Monahan.
three of those dudes and tell me they are not us put in a blender and taking all our money from.
Bobby Moynihan.
Bobby Moynihan would be fun.
Mhm.
There's your Ben.
Damn, that's pretty good.
There's your Ben.
And then you know, who's your Mesmer? I was like, this might be too on the nose, but he's so good. I really would love like a Jermaine Clement, but it's like, is that too much what we do in the shadows?
I'm going Killian Murphy. I think you get a very
Whoa.
serious actor.
Or like Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
like Cillian Murphy being an incredible get.
Do you know who's directing the Liam Neeson-led Naked Gun remake?
Yeah, it's our boys.
It's Akiva, yeah, from Lonely
Yeah,
Island.
it's our Lonely Island boys, and it's like essentially a Lonely Island movie. I feel like,
It gives me a little hope.
and it's not a reboot. He's like Frank Draben's son or something. He's playing Leslie Nielsen's son.
I saw,
Leslie Nielsen, Liam Neeson.
They'll probably lean into
They
that.
have to do something.
I saw Gladiator 2 with the creator and writer on a number of shows that I really like, which was a random thing that happened because I was going to the theater and then Pete was like, "Hey, this guy's coming." He worked on Arrested Development
Whoa, what
for
the
a while
fuck?
and like helped make a bunch of other shows. And he was like 70 years old. And I said, "Hey, do you do you know who wrote that line from Arrested Development where the older blue woman says, 'It's a banana, Michael. How much could it cost? $10?'" And he looks at me and he goes, "I wrote that one."
No fucking way.
And I was like, "No way." I was gonna say you deserve like a Pulitzer. And then we hung out for a little while. And then at the end of it, he said, "Elliott, I want to thank you. You know, a lot of people try to be funny around me and you haven't been funny one time."
And you're like, fuck, I was really trying. I was
Yeah.
trying so hard.
I said, "Thank you, Tim," not his name, and walked away.
Thank
yeah.
you
And
for
then we
not
went.
being funny at all.
He was very funny.
It was refreshing to not hear jokes today.
we went and saw Gladiator 2, and I was sitting next to him and he's eating his popcorn and he just goes, "He's gay. The bad guys are always gay." I was like, I don't know how to yes and that.
We also love the line in Arrested Development when she goes, "Here's some money, go see a Star War." when she's like, "Get out of here, go see the Star War."
He was talking about how they would come up with
Elliot-
lines that were just sounds, like whenever they talk about egg, and Jason
Oh
Bateman
my
would just go,
God. Her?
Did you sat by somebody, like, it's rare, like in the entertainment industry, probably any industry, any profession, a lot of the time you're just around people and you're like, I wonder how they got there. This guy? This girl? Really? But you sat down next to somebody that was, you probably felt while he was dropping those one-liners, legitimately fucking hilarious.
"Oh yeah, yeah." He was telling me rabbi jokes. He was going on every sentence was
Damn.
a joke. It was great.
And you were going, oh, this guy is the guy. This is a guy.
Yeah.
Okay, new business idea.
And not giving a shit about the industry, like that old kind of like weathered person who's so successful in the industry that they're not trying to toot their own horn anymore.
I
Really good.
know, they're just over it, and they're just they're done.
Yep.
They're not trying to prove themselves anymore either.
Yeah.
So they're just like confident. They're oozing confidence, and they're really good at it. Okay, new business idea.
Okay.
So if this is for working comedians or anybody with a fan base, you can go and see a movie with insert name here, and you get an experience where that person is going to be joking as if they joke with their friends when they watch a movie, but you get to sit in on that and get the jokes from that person.
Is it called Comedians in the Cinema Getting Sued?
I
Because
love
that
it
would be a
because
liability, right? If you,
yeah, at one point, what's his name? Who's that fucking director that's like, "Don't watch my movies on an iPhone, you little fucks." Who is it? It's
Probably most.
no. Who's the guy that directed like The Departed?
Oh,
Scorsese?
Scorsese?
Is it Scorsese?
That did
Yeah.
The Departed? Yeah.
It's like someone. It's like Scorsese is always like, "This is how, like you can't watch this," and he like shits on Marvel movies all the time. Like it's
definitely
Scorsese.
does not like Marvel movies. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so Scorsese would come out and be like, "You can't have people talking during a fucking movie. You can't build a whole business around someone talking during a movie. You can't. Don't talk during my movie." And all these. See, I think this would get people would run with this idea, and it would get traction because there'd be so much discourse around doing that. Like, don't talk in the movie theater, you know? But it's like, we're not necessarily promoting talking in the movie theater. It's more like what Elliott experienced, where the person leans over and goes, "Every villain's gay. They're all gay." It's just stuff like that.
Which is such a funny line. It's so good.
Every
like
villain
that.
is closeted gay.
Was the movie good, Elliot? Did you enjoy it?
I was half watching it, half being like, he's going to say something. I got to come up with something funny to say. And so
The
I
pressure.
thought it was fine. And when it ended, I was like, I'm about to start making fun of the movie. And he was like, that was really great. And I was like, that was a great movie, wasn't it? Yeah.
I heard
But
it's
no,
good.
it was fine. It was
Is it-
like good enough. It's like visually like fun. And, Denzel Washington's great. It's the same movie again.
That's what I heard. It's
I just
like,
don't really particularly, it
Yeah.
didn't grab me emotionally, but it's
That's
really
why
fun.
I haven't seen Smile 2 yet, because I feel like it's probably just the same movie.
no, it's
again.
great. It's fucking
Is
so
it?
good.
But isn't it the
so
same
good.
movie again?
They do some man. They up the
okay.
horror elements, and they do some things that I
Okay.
haven't seen before. It's really fun, super fun.
And I really do. I know, like, someone
Do they
spoiled.
frown?
Is there drowning?
Don't spoil it.
Well, someone spoiled a little something
Do
for
they
me.
smirk?
And Elliot, you saw it.
No,
you're not
and
gonna
I
see it.
won't. That little girl freaks me out in the trailer.
Anyone who plans on seeing it, just skip ahead a little bit or whatever. But I heard I like a movie that's like where the evil is an unstoppable force,
That's definitely this.
and I feel like this is an unstoppable force villain, and that's really cool. And it's
The-
been a
the
while since
ending-
we've had unstoppable force villain.
The ending will make you think, oh my gosh, where is this unstoppable
they-
force going next?
I like that. Like my favorite unstoppable force movies, The Grudge is one of them. And the original, and then there's
Ring.
one where it's The Grudge versus The Ring, which is like really cool. Did you see that? It's like it's
No,
just stupid.
It's a versus?
Oh yeah, it's good.
Are they grudging that? Was one grudging the other and the other ringing the other?
they so it's like
like
they
Tyson
can't stop the
versus-
grudge. They're like, how do we stop? They're like, we can't stop the grudge. And they're like, what do we do? And someone's like, let's bring the ring girl into the room with the grudge, and then they'll fight each other and they'll cancel each other out.
So it's Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, but it's like a plan to like take two unstoppable forces.
What I
see-
want to get.
and another one is Drag Me to Hell. Drag Me to Hell is a
Drag Me to
great unstoppable force.
I love Drag
movie.
Me to Hell. Okay, I think you're identifying the horror movies I like, or at least the only ones I've seen.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so maybe watch Smile then.
I love that you love Drag Me to Hell. That's great.
I love Drag Me to
I
Hell.
also love it because it's really easy to appreciate. It's so simple and it's like fun, but also kind of scary, and it
Yeah.
makes you feel like you're a big boy for watching a scary movie. But it's fun too.
And so that's a good Raimi. It's a good Sam Raimi. I feel like some
Yeah.
Sam Raimi is very hit or miss. Like I love him, but I do feel like his directorial storytelling methods are sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
I
And
agree.
He's one of my favorite directors. So that movie, great Sam Raimi. I would like to suggest another Sam Raimi to you boys if you haven't seen it. And
Okay.
I watched it again recently, and I fucking love it, and it reminded me why it's one of my favorite movies. If you haven't seen it, or if you have, please go watch The Quick and the Dead and come back to me.
Oh, okay. I'll write it down. I
Quick
will
and the
have
Dead.
seen it by the next show.
It's a Western, and it's one of my favorite Westerns. It's so fun and so unique. You got Gene Hackman, Sharon Stone, you got Russell Crowe, you got Leonardo DiCaprio.
Damn.
If that doesn't sell it for you,
What the fuck? Okay,
go
I'm gonna
watch
watch
that
it.
movie a day and get
Okay.
back to me next pod.
Um,
I will.
Okay.
everyone. Oh, and please, everyone, watch Jackie Brown. I don't know if we talked about it on the last show or not, but please, I love Jackie Brown. If you've never seen Jackie Brown, earlier in the show we were talking about slice of life movies, and that's like I think that's a Tarantino slice of life, which is a rare one.
Okay. I've never seen it.
You've never seen Jackie Brown?
No,
Dude,
it's the
Joe, come
one, the one
on.
that I haven't seen.
Dude, you got Samuel L. Jackson, you got
Never heard of him.
you've got oh fuck, what's his name? Not Pesci. De Niro, you got De Niro.
Don't know who that is.
You got Robert Forrester,
I know that one.
and he's so
The poet.
good. You fall in love with Robert Forrester in that movie. Anyway, all right.
Okay.
Guys,
That's
thanks
a-
for watching.
Place to
Appreciate you. Thank you to the patrons and everyone else. Oh, let's do you want a goodbye button?